Okay, I'm going to show you how to find every note on the keyboard in under 10 minutes. So, when I was a student at the Royal College of Music in London, there was one night in the middle of the night, it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, and there were 4 of us all in the flat, and we were all sound asleep, and we woke up to hear this sound. Very quiet, very gentle. Can you imagine how spooky that was? And my first reaction was to jump out of bed and shove the chest of drawers against the door so that whoever was in our front room playing our piano could not get in. And my roommate, Julia, her first instinct was to run out onto the street in her nightie to get away from whoever it was that was playing the piano in our front room. And our other flatmates, Jane and Louise, were a bit braver than we were, and they decided to attack whoever it was who was playing the piano in the front room with umbrellas. So we could hear them go 1, 2, 3, run, and they ran down the corridor with their umbrellas, and they burst into the front room where they saw a poor cat sat up at the piano playing our piano, who got the fright of his life that these two very scary girls who were brandishing weapons had come to attack him. So he tried to jump out the bathroom window and managed to escape. Anyway, so the first thing I want you to notice is that the piano is grouped into groups of 3 black notes together and 2 black notes together, and so you can actually play like a cat padding its way down the piano. Cat's paws, I always call that exercise, and that's quite nice just to get used to the sound of the piano and the feel of the keys underneath your hand. So the first thing I want you to see is that on the piano there are patterns. Somebody once said to me, why doesn't it just go white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, all the way up and down the piano? Why are there the groups of 2 black notes together and the groups of 3 black notes together? And I actually had to think about it at the time, but then I realised if it just was the same all the way up, you'd never know where you were. So we need the patterns on the piano to show us which notes are which. Otherwise you just have to use your ear all the time to find out which note you're playing, and that isn't always reliable for everybody. So the first note that we're going to learn is the note D. So for the note D, you have to find the 2 black notes that are grouped together, there, and the note in the middle of the 2 black notes I call D for donkey's nose. So it looks a bit like a white nose with 2 black ears. So that's the very first easy one to remember, D for donkey's nose. Next to D, there is the elephant, E-F, elephant. So E-F, elephant, is 2 white notes sitting together, and I sometimes think it looks a bit like an elephant's foot, the actual shape of these 2 white notes together. So the other thing that we've got to sort of clock is that the right hand side of the piano is the higher, more tinkly end, and the bottom bit of the piano is lower and deeper. Okay, so we've got donkey's nose, and then we've got E-F, elephant. Okay, so the next note we're going to learn is a lovely one. It's above B, above the big group. So big group is the group of 3 black notes together, and B is the note that sits above it, so that's to the right of it, at the top end of it. And what I like to do is to bounce all the way down the piano on the B's. So B above the big group, B above the big group. Okay, so that's all the B's on the piano. Right, so in the middle of the big group, the group of the 3 black notes that are together, we've got 2 notes that sit nestled within the big group, and they are G, A, Gaga. So I like to think of the 3 black notes of the big group being like the bars of a cot, and a baby's in the cot, and the baby saying Gaga, G, A, Gaga. Okay, so some babies come out and they're huge, great big 14-pound babies with a full head of hair, and I imagine that that sound is is like the sound of a big baby coming out. And then you've got the tiny little petite baby, and that's going to be the top end of the piano. You might get twins, so you'd play G, A, Gaga with both hands. You try that. Okay, so we now have D for donkey's nose, we have E, F, elephant. So always remember that the donkey's nose and the elephant sit together. So it's donkey, then elephant. Then we've got G, A, Gaga. Then we've got B above the big group. So the only note that we haven't done now, the only white note that we haven't done now is C. And we have a little rap that goes with C, C to the left of the two black notes. So there's your two black notes, and there's C to the left of it. C to the left of the two black notes. C to the left of the two black notes. Okay.